I saw a problem and then I wanted to provide a solution. And really that is what business is all about, identifying a problem and providing a solution and making money from it. Right. If I want to make a business out of it, I shouldn't just do one thing. I should do another. And I remember the part of teaching, French. And I was like, okay, so quite a number of French graduates find it, kind of difficult to get a job. So let me help out in that regard. And also, most people complain about French. Most students complain about French. They say it's boring. Yeah. They didn't like their French teachers. So I was like, yeah, let's make it fun for them. Let's make the learning process, enjoyable for them. So I decided to start M.P.F France. 2019, I went into M.P.F fully. Full-time. Wow. Yeah, so it then became more than just a bookstore. It became an agency. So we work with schools, we work with universities, we work with private individuals, we work with companies. It's a big thing now.
Hi guys, today we have Tosin Adesina. She is the founder of M.P.F and L.O.T.W. Hello, Tosin.
Hi.
It's good to have you today.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
So basically, you're more like the first person we are discussing with this year.
Oh.
Shall I say happy
New
year?
I'm opening the year. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Honestly, yeah. So M.P.F, L.O.T.W. How do you come about those names?
Oh, okay. So M.P.F stands for Ma Petite France, Ma Petite France, which is My Little France. Oh, wow. It's long, so I can't be saying Ma Petite France, Ma Petite France, it's a mouthful, right? So M.P.F. Well, L.O.T.W means living out the word. L.O.T.W, living out the word. So those are my two assignments in life, basically.
Okay. Living out the word.
Yes, living out the word. And Ma Petite France.
Oh. So, how did all of this start for you, M.P.F? How did you get started? How did you get into it?
Okay, so I studied French in the university.
Yeah.
And while I was in school, there were a lot of things that I noticed that I didn't necessarily like, right?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, yeah, let's just go through, the whole process. And then I remember in 2014 when I had I went for a stage in France. Yeah. And then my experience there kind of opened my eyes to the reality of things and how things should be done. So I said, okay. In the university, we used to have a lot of photocopied materials, right? And generally, it's not very motivating to read.
Yes.
So when I saw resources, I went to a French bookstore and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I saw resources for kids, for adults, and, they looked so enticing that you just want to pick them up and read. Yeah. So I was like, if we had this back home, it would be very good.
Interesting.
Then during my program, the way and manner in which we were taught was very different from what I was used to. Wow. So I was like, why do we tend to make things so difficult back home? I'm going to do something about it. There and then I remember I called one of my uncles who owns a school and I told him, hey, I found some very good materials for kids to learn French. And I think them starting off early will be very good. So how about I do this business? I get the books across to you and to train your pupils. And then he was like, good, that's a great idea. So that was where I first had the idea for M.P.F France. That was in 2014. Now, fast forward to 2016, I was done with school. In fact, I had closed the door on French because I really wanted to do media.
Wow.
Right? I wanted to do media. So I was working in a media company. I was doing my job, enjoying the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then the Holy Spirit just laid it in my heart again that, this was something I was supposed to do. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it, just not full time.
Yeah.
I'll go into the business side of it. I'll get, importing and all of that, importing and distributing. I'll
Yes.
work with schools, with universities and all of that. And then I was like, okay, if I want to make a business out of it, I shouldn't just do one thing. I should do another. And I remember the part of teaching,
Yeah.
French. And I was like, okay, so quite a number of French graduates find it, kind of difficult to get a job. So let me help out in that regard. And also, most people complain about French. Most students complain about French. They say it's boring. They didn't like their French teachers. So I was like, yeah, let's make it fun for them. Let's make the learning process, enjoyable for them. So I decided to start M.P.F France. 2019, I went into M.P.F fully.
Full-time. Wow.
Yeah, so it then became more than just a bookstore. It became an agency. So we work with schools, we work with universities, we work with private individuals, we work with companies. It's a big thing now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I love the way you painted M.P.F and all of that. I'm just curious, what's really led you to study French in the university? Is it that it's what you, or is it what they gave to you, or what you actually went for?
So communication and language arts was my first choice, and then French really was my second choice. So I just ended up studying
French.
Yeah, and it was good.
Wow. Wow. But in the course of you studying French in school, do you have any foresight, or this is going to be useful to me? Or because I know people go into more like interpreter and all of that. That's one of the reading whatever. Did you see yourself
doing business
with French?
To be honest, if you had asked me in school, a lot of us, if you ask any French student in school what they want to be, they'd probably write an ambassador or a diplomat or something. And I probably caught on to that for a while. But then later I was like, yeah, I don't think this is what I'm going to do with my life. But except for people who are really, who are really direct, who kind of get their clarity very early on in life.
Yeah.
Most of it for us, it kind of just unfolds, right? So as you keep moving, it becomes clearer that this is what I should do. So after uni, like I said, I was really kind of done with French. I knew French for me was an added advantage to whatever it is that I wanted to do.
Yes.
So whether journalism, I'm going to be better than the next person because I'm good at what I do.
Yes.
And I also speak French. So I felt it kind of gave me like an international exposure. Yeah. So I was globally relevant, that kind of thing. I could do the English part, I could do the French part. And if I was interested in learning on any other language, like then I think I was kind of learning a little bit of Mandarin and Korean. But yeah, that's gone. That's gone. I was in my youthful days now, not anymore. So, like I said, it was media I wanted to do. It was just like I said, I saw a problem and then I wanted to provide a solution. And really, that is what business is all about: identifying a problem and providing a solution and making money from it. Right.
So before I come to the part of you seeing the problem and trying to fill up the hope and providing a solution to it, I kind of stumbled on one of your videos online whereby you were kind of acting.
I don't know. I have so many, so I'm not sure which one.
Yeah. So at what point did you get that inspiration to kind of branch into acting?
Acting. So like I said, I'm a media person. I like, the media space, whether it's talking, whether it's acting, directing, whatever. So after NYC, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it before NYC? I'm not sure. I decided to go to acting school.
Wow.
Yeah, because I wanted to be bold. I wanted to come out of my shell and be more expressive and all of that. So I said, acting school would be good. And it was it 3 months or I think it was a 3 months program. So I did that, and you would have opportunities to feature in films and all of that. So I did it. It was fun. I think I may do it again later. I don't know.
Is it as a movie director or
I will do everything.
scriptwriter?
I will do everything. I'm a multi-potentialite. I do a lot of things. I'm interested in a lot of things, and I do a lot of things, and I am good at a lot of things. Right? There's you do things and you're not good at them. I'm good at a lot of things. So I know in the nearest future I will do. I will direct. My project. I would also feature in it as well. So. I look forward to that.
Wow, interesting. So that being said, let me take you to the aspect of the broadcast. I know for the fact that you worked with a broadcast firm, and how has that experience shaped you to, or played a part in who you are today?
Okay, so I didn't study media in school, right?
Yeah.
I was mostly in linguistics. I kind of towed that field.
Yeah.
I did a little of theater arts, but it wasn't anything major. So that I had like field experience at that job. I got what people learn in school. I kind of learned, on site. I got the practical aspect of what it means to write for TV,
Wow.
what it means to go out and report an event,
Yes.
piece the cam, all of that, edit, especially editing,
Yes.
and then presenting, because I also did presenting on TV as well.
Yeah.
So it was new for me, and I was young, I was hungry, so I just kept taking and grabbing and absorbing everything that I could. And the good part is everything I learned, on that job has also helped me in my personal businesses, right? Both M.P.F and L.O.T.W. It has really helped a lot. So I'm very grateful and thankful for the opportunity I had to, to work there.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. And one thing I take from what you've said is, in the course of your growing process, you have more like a set goal. This is where I'm going to. The final destination might not be clear yet, but there is a path towards it. The acting, broadcast, for the fact that they are not related to what you studied in school, but it's more like preparing you towards something bigger. Now you have M.P.F, and I see some of your videos on YouTube, the way you play with the kids, the way you tutor them, and I can see the part of the acting in it.
Yeah. I was really, 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 really into making the experience fun for the kids, right? Because I feel you learn better when you are happy learning, right? When you enjoy the process. And then when you're working with kids, they are so amazing.
Yeah.
You can relate with them,
Free
right?
spirits,
You can, yeah. So let's just have fun while we're learning. And then also I wanted to bring in the, for example, we have French time with M.P.F kids where we create like, we create a scenario and have them act it out, right? Because we wanted to make the language real to them. How do you use it in a real life context? So most of the French time with M.P.F kids that you find on our YouTube channel has that, right? So kids also at home can just sit and learn. Another thing is you get to see people who look just like you speaking French,
Yes.
right? So that also encourages and spurs them to do better.
Wow, that's interesting. So M.P.F, is it only designed for kids?
Oh no. So it's a full-on agency. We have the part for kids, we have the part for adults, we have the part for business French.
Yeah.
We have executive programs there where executives in a company can register for maybe like a 1 month course or a 2 month or like a 3 weeks course, and then we do that. If you are going to a francophone country and you want the service of a translator, interpreter, we also have that. So it's like a complete setup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The way you kind of package all of this seems very interesting. And anybody looking from afar will feel it's something very easy to replicate. Whereas I know a lot of sleepless night has gone into the preparation, planning the company and all of that. And I can recollect at least I was able to spend a little time with you. I knew a bit of when you were trying to put all of this together. One thing about setting up a structure is, number one, are you seeing that platform you are setting up as a business to solve a problem, or you are just setting up for you to experiment? When I mean experiment, when you're trying to set up a business, you don't know the end goal yet. You just let us just build. From there, we figure it out. So how were you able to figure yours out right from the set goal?
So, like I said in the beginning, it was just, it started off with the bookstore idea with the tutorials. It started off with the bookstore and tutorials. Later on, Business French came in. Later on, Francophone Traveler came in, right? So later on, school partnerships came in. So a school that wants to raise bilingual students but does not have the capacity to do it, we kind of go into partnership with them and we handle that part of it. So instead of you setting up like generally a bilingual school and you don't have the resources or or the know-how to push it, by the time you come to us and say this is what we want to do, we're able to set up a structure for you, and then we work with you. So some of these things came as we progressed. So as we solved one problem, another came up, and then we're like, oh, let's do this too. Let's provide a solution to this, And more people kept coming to us and saying, help us with this. Let's do this. Let's work together. And then it just kept opening up. So right from the beginning, I was intentional about what I wanted to do. I didn't just say, let's try it out, because I left my job, right? So I had, left where I was to focus on M.P.F fully. So I had to be deliberate. I had to know what I wanted to do. This wasn't, let's just see where to go. No, there's no way to go. It has to break through. It has to do well. But largely I'm a spiritual person. I'm God's girl. I call myself, I'm God. It's not that I call myself, I am God's girl. So I don't do anything without the leading of the Holy Spirit. So yes, that was a few years ago, and I will say I've progressed significantly in my faith journey, but I knew God was setting me up,
for the next level.
Yeah. So I was doing that because he wanted me to, maybe break into this education field. And then, as time went on, L.O.T.W came, and then everything just kept progressing and all.
Wow.
But it hasn't been easy at all. I've had to start over like 3 times, and each time it wasn't a good experience. It wasn't a good experience, but because the idea was from my spirit, right? It was God given.
Yes.
Each time I had to start again, I didn't feel like a failure. It just felt, it's just one of those challenges you go through as a business person. Wake up, get up, and do the work. Right. So each time I had challenges with people, with staff and all of that, it was just is heavy lies the head that wears the crown, right? Yeah, that's it. So you can't just breeze your way in through. You will face those challenges, and they're supposed to toughen you and strengthen you, right? So I will say it has also formed me. M.P.F was my first business before L.O.T.W, and then there are a lot of things that I learned there that, I didn't, because I had made the mistakes then and learned from it, I didn't make the same with L.O.T.W, right? So, to say it was a walk in the park, not at all. I had favor, I had grace, yes, but it wasn't like super, super easy.
Yeah. So I love the fact you made mention of grace, because, one thing is, it's not by hard work. It's by the grace of God, right? And I agree with that 100% because I resonate with that too as well. But here's the thing, M.P.F will be 5 this year.
Yes.
Wow, what an incredible journey.
Right.
And you made mention of something now that you have to start all over again like 30 times. Can you walk us through that journey? Because, starting all over is not something easy, except you are embedded with the blueprints.
Okay, so the first time obviously was setting it up and living my business, and being the one to spearhead everything, right?
Yes.
So I was everything from the cleaner to the social media person
Can you
to
guys hear
the I was everything, and I was happy
Yeah.
doing it, right? So after a while I felt I needed more experience. I needed more knowledge
Yes.
to take it to the next level, right? So I said I have to go back. I have to go back to France to take some more courses.
Yes.
But then the business was already at a stage where I couldn't just close it and then come back and open it again, right? It needed to continue. So and then that was, yes, that was 2020. So that was the year of COVID, right? So,
Yes.
we were all going through a lot of things. And, the people back home, because I was in France then,
Yes.
also, were very shaky. Things were not so good. I was trying my best to manage things from that end, but
Yes.
it wasn't working out. You know how people can be. I understood them, but then, right.
Fine. Yeah.
So I had to start again while I was in France.
Yes.
And then, we started the online classes. I was actually the one who spearheaded that, communicating with clients and all of that. I was doing that. I had a secretary back home, so she was handling things here.
Yeah.
So when I came back, everyone had to go. So I was like, okay, we're doing this again.
Wow.
Let's do it again.
Wow.
So I started again, got new people on board, and we did pretty well. We had like an amazing year from 2021,
Yeah.
to 2023.
Wow.
And then 2023, I there were then challenges again with the members of staff at that time. And, well, the thing, God just saw me through because to be honest, I'm his girl. So people will be people, but he will be with me, right? And because I didn't steal the idea from anyone, I didn't copy it from anyone. It flows. I basically sleep, wake up, and have an idea, right? And then not just the idea, God breathes on it. So when all of that was happening, 2023 was a very trying time, very trying year, even financially for M.P.F. But through it all, we were still good. We didn't go down. It just wasn't like, ooh,
as
lilies
expected,
in the fields,
right?
and all of that. But God was still faithful.
Amazing.
Right. So when they all had that, I don't even know, to be honest, how, people will be people, to be honest. You just learn to manage them as it goes. You have the good ones, you have the
bad ones.
The bad ones, and you have the difficult ones, and you have the ones who are just misdirected or allow themselves to be influenced negatively, right? It's sad because some of them could be good, but then they just allow themselves to be used, to be influenced negatively, which is very sad. So I had to deal with all of that. And then apart from that, if some very good ones who worked with me had to move on to the next level, they had to go for their masters, those ones, and I wish them well. Those ones were amazing. So I thank God for them. But at the end, I was back alone to square one. I had to start all over again. And it's just, funny enough, I know there's not a Christian program, but God had already told me about it in 2023. That at the beginning of 2023, that was what was going to happen. It just wasn't in clear terms. God still won't give you the full picture. It does give you small. And then, when he told me, oh, you're entering a new season and all of that, pray about it. I was like, hey, money is coming. So, I was praying and I was just thanking God and, all of that. And then I remember I told my members of staff then, I said, this is what, God has told me, and not everybody here will go into the next season with us. M.P.F, right? But, let's just pray and trust God about it. I didn't even know that none of them were going to go into the next season. And then this season has just blown my mind, to be honest, because God had, when he says there's a new season of abundance and there's a new season of, favor, of partnerships, that is what we are seeing in this next season, right? Like I've gotten calls for partnerships, calls to come and you know when you don't lobby for something and you just sit and then you get a call, oh, we want you to come and open up here. That's the way it has been. And I'm just thankful to God. Right. I don't do this thing without God. I don't do it without God. And and I'm very thankful that He's not just in one aspect of my life. You know, there are some people that God is just there on Sundays and, God, but He's in every aspect of my life. So I'm very thankful for that.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I love the fact that you can relate your story to God's grace, which I believe He knows the ending before the beginning, right? And He's the only one who can perfect us in our ways and all of that. I love that. And so one thing again is this, you made mention of you taking your business to schools, telling them, oh, we can get you French tutors or probably supply you books.
Yes.
Of it. So what gave you that audacity?
Like I said, I just sleep and wake up and have an idea, right? So at the end of the day, there's a lack and I'm providing a solution, right? So you don't have good French resources. And I know this because we've done our market research and all of that.
Yes.
So we go to schools and show them what it is we have to offer. I remember when we started off, we used to import a lot of books. And, because of the situation in the country, it kept getting expensive and even more expensive.
Yes.
And then not all schools are able to afford, the high prices and all of that. So I said, you know what? I remember I told my team then, I said, this is an example of what a Nigerian French book looks like.
Yes.
You see how bad the quality is, right? Yeah. And this is an example of the ones we get. So let's make one that is of high quality, but also tailored to our needs, tailored to, the Nigerian context, situation. So they would open it and be able to relate to it. We are not seeing examples of abroad scenarios that we will never see in Nigeria. Yes, we will pick good structured, examples from there, but also tailor it to our local context.
Yes.
So we're able to do that. We created very amazing resources, games that the pupils could use in school, students could use in school, and also use back at home. Wow. So it was just, there's a problem. How do we provide a solution to it? Let's think it through. So when you provide the solution, now is to let people know that you have the solution to this problem. If you have the solution and you don't talk about it, you don't let them know, then it's just always going to be in your pocket, right? True. So there's marketing, there's what do you call it now? When you go out and you try to network, let people know this is what you are doing, and all of that. So we've been able to do that.
Oh, amazing. Amazing, yeah. So, while I was in secondary school, we have a French teacher. Whenever it's period for French, he's he's interesting because that was where I got to know about the French national anthem. Allons enfants.
Allons enfants.
I know that kind of stuff, yeah. But the interest wasn't really there. Yeah. The way you've designed your own platform, you made it much interesting for people to learn and see a need to learn it. And is there really a need to learn French? And of what value is it to whoever understands French? I know learning more than 2 languages is fine, but people need to be convinced that there is a reason for them to learn this.
People always forget that in the world, you don't have just English speakers, right? Yeah. You think it's just Nigeria, the US, the UK, and maybe South Africa and all of these other countries, but there is the English-speaking world and there's the French-speaking world. Yeah. Now, imagine being able to cross borders, both areas. You can do business with the French, you can do business with English. You also understand their culture. There's a way of life they have that is different from, the way the English speakers do their things.
Yes.
So when you understand the way they do things, you're able to relate. You can, apart from even the career opportunities that you have, maybe to work in international organizations like the UN and all of that, they need people who not only understand the language but also the culture of these people. That is why at M.P.F we train children, or we raise them to be globally relevant in the areas of language and culture. So it's not just can I learn how to speak the language, you also understand the history of these people, the way of life of these people, so that you can better relate and understand the world that you live in. It's like you're almost like a global citizen, right? You understand your own setting and you also understand someone else's. And that comes into play when you work with international organizations, because they understand that they need to understand local context, right? Whenever they're maybe developing a product, all of that plays a role in knowing how to market to these people. When you can speak their language, you kind of have a part of their hearts, right? You can connect to them in a way that people who do not can't. Right. And apart from that, generally after 2020, you can see now that the world has gone digital. You can be in Nigeria and you can work for a French company. You can, if you speak the language, that's even better. Right? I always say French is an added advantage to whatever it is that you are doing. If you are someone who is into communications and you speak French, that just lifts you higher than someone who is just good at communications alone, because you have a wider range, space to play with, right? So you speak English, you speak French. If for example, a Korean company now approaches you that they want to work, they want you to help develop their media, team and all of that. The fact that you are good in English, you're good in French, oh la la, that's like, let her come, right? Because that means we can connect, like
several
audiences all in one, right? And it's good. So that's one of the reasons we try to explain to our people. It's not just being able to. You should see beyond that and the opportunities that it affords you, that it affords your kids. It's not just about, for example, a lot of adults now want to learn French because...
Chakba.
Are we supposed to say that?
I broke the table, right?
Are we supposed to say that? Because, maybe it's going to make things easier relocating to Canada and all of that. But that is one way that it helps, right? That's one way. It's you get more points. Right, when you are able to speak French, right? Then when you move to Canada, for example, you have the choice of either the French speaking part or the English speaking part. If you're in the French speaking part and you speak English, that's a plus. If you're in the English speaking part and you speak French, that's a plus, well, right? So look at the benefits, look at the advantages, and then if it's going to be easier to start early. If you didn't have this opportunity when you were younger, then it's best to give it to your kids now. Right. Let them just learn it without even being aware of the fact that they are learning a language. Because when you're an adult, it becomes more difficult. You have too many things fighting for your attention to take the time to begin to learn conjugation and to begin to to learn new words and all of that. So it's very easy when it's kids that are learning
kids,
language.
So you're talking about kids now, it's sometimes kind of a bit difficult to bring kids together and tutor them, because of their playfulness. And some are some are kind of, kids are their different kind of upbringing, right?
Yeah.
So how have you been able to manage the challenge with you and your tutors here?
Well, to be honest, we've not really had challenges in that regard. We have different programs. We have the private programs where it's just you and your tutor. We have the group class, which is my favorite because I like the competition in class. I like the exchange. I like... my ideas just flow when I'm in a group class online, right? We are able to create scenarios. We're able to have, all sorts of, stuff that generally, if it's just me and a child, I may not be able to to do.
Yes.
So we've like perfected everything, whether it's online or physical. If it's a physical group class, that's like a classroom setup. We are
Yes.
trained teachers, so that's easy. That's easy for us to do
Yeah.
as well. And then you kind of know each child, you know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, and you know what to recommend to the parent. So this is what I feel she should work on in her free time. The major challenge I will say we've had is schoolwork and their other extracurricular activities. So there are a lot of kids who do gymnastics, they do maybe they have dance lessons, they just have so many activities. And French is just one of them, and I try to explain to the parents that don't make French just one of the many activities. If not, you will not give it your best. Right?
Yes,
We have a very small time frame to work with these kids. Usually primary school is best. If we can continue to secondary, that's very good. But once they get to secondary, the number of of subjects they do increases and the workload. So just give us this 6 years, right? When they're in primary school, give us this. The same way they do English in school every day for 6 years.
Yes.
Right? Even more, because you start from nursery and all of that.
True.
Give us the same amount of dedication. But, that's the challenge we have, really. But I know those parents who see things the way we do and understand the importance and the benefits always commit to us, and we're committed to them as well.
So I agree with you on the fact that allow your kids to learn right from primary school. So in my own case, I want to relate it to my own story now. I got to know about French when I got to secondary school. If I had that opportunity to learn while I was in primary school, I would have developed a sense of interest.
Yes.
You get?
Yes.
And when you are growing up, when you are still very young, I mean, probably still in primary school, your ability to learn, you are just absorbing.
Yeah, exactly. You're like a sponge. It's just coming. Yeah.
Absorbing. So in getting that cleared out, how do you find it working with adults?
Oh, like I don't need to blow my own horn, but I can do both, really. I can do both. I can work with kids, and then I know how to switch when it's time for adults.
Yeah.
Basically, at the end of it all, it's conversation. We are talking, right? Yeah. And you think, these are adults. They don't know anything. They don't know. I mean, when it comes to the language, though, they don't know. So it's basically like you're teaching them like you teach kids. They don't know anything. You're teaching them alphabet, right? You're teaching them the French alphabet. You're teaching them the sounds. It's like they're learning from scratch.
Yes.
So I'm the one with the authority, right? And you're in a boardroom. You're taking maybe an executive, course. You're teaching them like you will the younger ones, and then they are looking at you ready to receive, because they probably need it. They're probably traveling to a francophone country, and they want to also be able to exchange with them, because you will notice most francophones also learn English and they're able to communicate in English, but then we Anglophone, speakers don't reciprocate that. So most of, especially those in the corporate space, those who see and have seen the importance of it, then come later on and then they try to learn with us. So it's good. To be honest, it's not difficult in any way.
You see, this thing you made mention of. So I was shocked when I saw the former vice president, Professor Simbajo, speaking French.
Oh wow!
I was really shocked.
Oh wow! I should get that clip and put it on our Instagram page.
I was really shocked when I saw him speaking French. I was like, wow. Really?
Not just him, also
I know additional Professor Akinwumi
Adesina. What about there was a video I saw, was it Wole Soyinka or Tai Sholari? There was someone who spoke French amongst the two of them and spoke it very well. It was good to see. It was very good to see.
Wow. That's really interesting.
Exactly.
I was really inspired. Like, I need to go learn this French.
That's what they all say.
But as an adult, learning French might be a bit challenging.
It
right?
is.
Because
it is.
You have so many things fighting for attention.
It is.
So which one do you find much easier? I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here. between a kid and an adult? Which
It is definitely as a child. I also started learning French as a child. My dad wanted myself and my brother to start, to learn another language. And he was very deliberate about it. It was just that I did that in primary school, but in secondary school, I was in the boarding house. So, I wasn't able to have private lessons.
Yeah.
And also I didn't exactly like my French teachers. So it kind of brought my interest in French language down, right? So in uni, it was like I had started all over again. So if I have to do it again, definitely my kids, all of them are going to be bilingual. In fact, they will be polyglots. They'll speak English, Yoruba, French, Spanish. And that's definitely going to happen.
Interesting. There is something you said there now. You made mention of while you were in primary school, you didn't like your French
No. I liked him when I was in primary. I didn't like the one in secondary
in
school.
secondary school.
Yeah.
And that has played a major role in kids or adult ability to learn this language. And it's not just French alone, even in mathematics, all facets of life and all of that. So I guess schools need to pay attention to this aspect too as well.
Yes, they do. They do need to, the approach in learning a language, especially because for some schools, it's not like math and English. Math and English is compulsory. You have to do it.
Yes.
So for language, it's kind of like what's the word?
Is it optional?
Optional, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of optional. So if they don't want to, they don't. But then, and the sad part is when they grow up that they realize the importance, right?
Right.
So if as a school, that's why we always like to have like meetings and one-on-ones with maybe the head of school or the people in charge to really explain to them so they understand, and they understand the level of commitments that they have to place on it, right?
Yes.
And also for the kids, we try to explain to them, at least those in maybe at the higher primary school, higher secondary, JS, and then, senior secondary school, about the importance so that they can catch on to it early. It's not all the time that you'll have a sweet teacher, right? Or a sweet lecturer. It's not all the time. But then when you understand the importance, you're able to look beyond all of that. But then we try our possible best to create activities, to sustain the interest in the language.
Yes. Interesting. So let me take it back to 2020. 2020 reshaped the world in a very unique way. And it's when people took a lot of businesses online. Yeah. And you made mention of 2020 was when you guys took your business online too.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the 2020 till date, which do you prefer? The online class platform or physical platform as a founder?
I like both, because online I can do a lot more online, right? In the online space we can have about 50 different classrooms going on, and you just have one tutor for the groups. But physically we are limited, right?
Yes.
We are limited physically. And more of our tutors are also interested in online platforms than physical. So that's also something. And then was it 2020 or 2021? Things also became very expensive in the country, right? So most people too were also like, they just prefer to stay home. They don't want to go out. Online classes works for them. So we had to also begin to change a lot of things and reduce the number of physical classes we had and increase, the space for the online programs. But I think now it has balanced out. Now the world is back to normal.
Yes.
So people want physical. People want physical. I prefer online classes, but then that's just me because I have like a lot of things I'm doing. I prefer online classes.
Yes.
But then for some programs, I also do prefer physical because I like the exchange. I like physical touch. I like, being able to look into your eyes. I can read your emotions better. When I see you physically, I know if you're with me, I know if you're distracted.
Yes.
I'm able to call you back, as opposed to the online space that you have to go, hey, oh. You know what? They both have their benefits. They both have their good and their, demerits. But then everything works well.
Wow, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I've kind of looked around in regards to French agencies.
Yeah.
It seems you are. I don't know if I should call you a pioneer.
We're pioneers. We're the leading ones. Yeah. Basically, in Nigeria, I guess.
And I'm pretty sure that must have opened a lot of doors for you.
Yes, it has. It has because I think it's also because a lot of people were more interested in doing things for themselves. I wanted to do for community, right? I wanted to build a platform, not just enriching myself, but enriching others as well. And also because like I said, I'm someone who does quite a number of things, not just one thing. So I will not have been able to sustain it if I was doing it for myself alone. Most people who are in the French business are kind of like me. They don't. Not a lot of them have the idea to build something more than them. I think that's what the challenge has been, and that has also helped us in staying power, right?
Yes.
Some have come around, seen what we do, and tried to replicate it as well. Competition is also good. I like partnerships, not necessarily competition, right? I like partnerships. But, when you think you can just peep still and go, it's not the same thing, right? It's not the same thing. So some people have tried that, but I've also noticed that they've not stayed, right? They've not been able to stay. So I'm just doing what I have to do now, and I'm thankful to God. People who come to us and stretch out a hand for partnership. We look at you, make sure that you are good. Exactly. We are in sync, and then of course we come together. But that's just the way it is now. That's just the way it is now. So when you look us up online, you see we are the best.
I agree with that 100%. So you are more like a pace setter.
By God's grace.
Right? By God's grace, right? You are pioneering that space of creating that the need to have a French understanding, kind of awareness. And in doing that, I'm pretty sure you must have faced one or two challenges. Is it in the aspect of finance or aspect of human resources?
Yes.
What has been one of your major challenges faced?
Yeah, the finance part, yes. So the good thing with starting an agency is you don't necessarily need a lot. The only thing I feel we needed capital for was the importing of the books, right? But for the tutorials part, that didn't require a lot. It was just I have tutors. You need a tutor, so I connect you, right? And then we get paid. We get our commission. We pay the tutor. So I didn't really need to think of, building up or gathering resources as much till we needed to expand and get a physical space. That was when. But then thankfully the business was already self-sustaining then, so we were able to cover that. So financially, I wouldn't say we've had a lot of issues as much. We've been pretty good. The only thing is, obviously, when it's now time to scale, right? You need more hands. You need not just more hands, but qualified hands. And, for qualified hands, you need to pay better. So, like I said, we've also, as a business, it's been very well, but we've also had our own ups and downs. Maybe clients are not as much as we expect them to be. There are peak seasons, there are also dry seasons. And if we do not have a way to stabilize, you won't be able to pay salaries well enough. So we've kind of kept it small all these while, but we are looking at expanding and taking it up. We always get people who call us from other states like Abuja and all, and I'm like, Ooh. Ooh. Don't worry, very soon. Very soon. Let's stabilize. And after a while, we would, it's better to stand strong
And
then start spreading as opposed to just. I remember when I started, a lot of people were telling me, Tosin, you need to scale, scale. And I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. I prefer to do things at my pace and get it right and make it solid and then begin to slowly spread out. Obviously, there are business models that scaling brings in, the money immediately. But because I'm into the service industry, if I bring in bad people because I'm trying to scale, it's going to affect me in the end, right? If you look at the number of qualified French teachers in Nigeria, there are not many. So if you want me to scale on a large, and get investments and I'm very simple. I don't want to owe anybody and I don't want to be put on edge. I don't borrow money for my business. I do it as, as God gives us the ability to, and I have a good night's rest.
I like that.
So when we are able to, obviously a time will come where, we will want more. Maybe we want to scale not only in Nigeria, outside the country, and we will need funds for that. But then it means that to the core, we are strengthened, we are strong, right? So we are able to do that then. But for the moment, we are growing strong and steady.
Interesting. We are in the age of technology now, the 5G and smartphones and all of that. Have you considered integrating tech into?
Oh, yes. Last year, was it last year? Yes, last year we launched an e-course.
Whoa.
So we have the challenge of tutors and clients. So we decided to create an e-program where the courses are already pre-recorded. There are projects, there are assignments to do, and all of that. So people who want to take it at their own pace, at their own time, they can also do that. So we've integrated tech a long time ago.
Oh, interesting. And do you guys?
And that's also doing well.
Doing well, right? So your courses are on which platform can they find your courses?
Okay, so on our website, there's the e-classroom where you're able to sign up for the courses. You just pay a token and then you have access to it. The website is www.maptitfranceng.com.
Interesting. So, integration of tech, it's very essential in
the apps and spaces.
So, are you guys looking forward to build an app?
Yes, in due time. Yes, right. So there are things we have on the drawing board that like I said, finances, right?
It's very, very
and also apart from finances, it has to be the right time. So if we have the finances now and we launch out and it doesn't do well, it's because it's not the right time. So there's being able to observe the season and know the right time to launch. So when it's time, we will do that. Wow. It's definitely something we have in the works. It's definitely something I would like to do. And very soon, don't worry, you'll see it that it's something we will launch by God's grace.
That's fine. Amen. That's fine. Your business will be 5 this year. And for a business to stand, it's stand the test of 5 years, and after 5 years, you face the next set of challenges. Yeah. So by the time you clock 10, that is when you just started.
That's when you reach stability.
You understand? Because
businesses fold up at different stages. There are businesses that are 5, that are 2, in fact 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 that still end up folding.
So, yeah, but according to studies, for the first 5 years, if you can sustain it, you are truly ready for that business.
Yeah.
So the next 5 years, we help you consolidate.
Yes, exactly.
You understand, yeah? But what has really been your biggest downtime in the course of this 5 years?
First 5 years.
And how were you able to maneuver your way around it? Because I want people watching this podcast to pick lessons from it. Because I know there are a lot of young persons like me and you who are trying to create their own businesses too as well, and they want to really scale up and learn from people's other person's lessons?
Okay, I think the major challenge I've had is people. I think it's people. Because from my own end, I didn't build a one-man business, right? I built a company with a structure, and for that, you need people, right? So if you do not have the right set of people, it's going to bring everything down, right? So, like I said, I've had good, I've had bad, I've had people who've been negatively influenced, and when you create a business that you need people, especially the right kind of people, right talents, and all of that, it's challenging. It's challenging. Nigeria is an Anglophone space, right? And because I always encourage local content in anything that I do, whether it's L.O.T.W or M.P.F, I always like to look internally, before looking externally, right? This doesn't mean we have tutors from all around the world, right?
Yes.
Now it's growing. It's not that there are a lot, but like it's growing. But I always like to look internally. And apart from the fact that there are not many, the
Yes.
good ones are not so many. You have to also deal with people. When you talk to an HR professional, they will let you know the challenges of managing people, right?
Yeah.
And also, I started business very young. I think I started at 22 or so. So, when you're working with people, especially people who are older than you, who maybe find it difficult to, there's the
How do
pride,
you
there's the
manage that?
ego, there's the... But also, I've also had to learn, right? I've also had to learn to put emotions aside and say, this is the work I want
is
you to
business.
do, and you have to, get it done. And it's been a learning curve for me, really. So for the next 5 years, I've learned a lot in the previous 5.
Yes.
Mistakes that I've made, I will not make them again,
Yes.
by like us do. But I would say the major challenge has been people. I've had amazing clients. All our kids have been amazing. I feel like God especially gives us the best because each child we have, oh my God, you should hear when they speak. It's so beautiful, right? Wow. So we've been blessed when it comes to clients. We've not really had difficult clients. I really haven't had that. And also I've had some staff. There was one in particular that I had all through last year. She gave, when you have someone who gives herself.
Yeah, 100%.
There's some people who just do. They don't do more. They don't do less. They just do.
Is it just for the money?
Yeah, they just do. And then, they just move on. Yeah. But she gave herself
100%.
100%. And, it comes with its own blessings as well.
True.
Right. So that's why I said I've had everyone. I've had the good, I've had the, and then I had, I've had everyone. I've had the arrogant. I've had the ones who, were trying to go head to head with me just because, it is what it is. But we bless God. Like I said, the next 5 years will definitely be better because we're improving on, what we've had in the last 5. And I also know that this is the level for stability and upward growth. So we've had the shaky period.
Yes.
We've had, fall, you stand up again, you fall, you stand up again. And now it's time to build upwards.
Agreed.
Upwards and spread.
Agreed. When you're trying to build a business, right? Personally for me, so what I do is when the money comes into the business, I pour it back into the business.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best way to scale up and keep improving. And, at times, as a business person, you want to be like, money is coming in. Let me take care of myself. Let me give myself a bit of treat. But if you come to understand that there's a vision that lies ahead, you want to conserve the way you spend. You rather spend more on the business because it will multiply rather than take from the business, right? So I've been able to manage that financial aspect.
I made all those mistakes. I've made everything. I'm not even going to act cute. I've made all those mistakes because I started really early and I didn't have a background in business. Like I said, I'm not a numbers person. I'm just an ideas. I'm a creative. I'm able to create, and what I create is able to bring in, the finances. So I made all of those mistakes, but Thankfully, I was also able to. So I listened to a lot of business podcasts and all of that. So I was able to learn from people's experiences.
Yeah.
And then later on, I was able to say, oh, you know what, Tosin, you need to separate yourself from your business, right? The money that you use to start it can't go into your personal purse. Even though you're making a lot, you have to find a way to you have to structure it in a way that the business is self-sustaining. It pays you and it is also self-sustaining.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming because, like I said, I've made my own mistakes,
Yes.
but the good thing is to be able to learn from it and not make the same mistakes. Also, because I also started another business,
Yeah.
so I also then had to, and that one, some businesses you start and it kind of takes a while to begin
grow.
to generate, and all of that. So it's also a sacrifice, to be honest. It's a sacrifice that I've made, but because I know it's going to yield in time, so I don't mind. I'm not being paid my worth right now from the business because it needs to grow.
Yes.
Right? So I don't need to take everything because I'm the director and all of that. Even money needs to go back to the business,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm not a business guru. I'm just someone who likes to do a lot of things and is good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a CEO and, there are some founders that are not CEOs and there are some founders that are able to do both, right?
Yes, yeah.
For the moment, I'm the CEO, but I'm looking forward to the time where I will be able to employ a professional CEO, someone who, can take it to the next level. I'm aware of my strengths and I'm aware of the ones that I can build on, but I also know my limits, right? So I know when I have to take a step back and let professionals come in. And I'm looking forward to that time.
Interesting.
Because M.P.F and L.O.T.W are not businesses for now. They're businesses that will outlive me, right? So they need to be structured properly. I'm able to do what I can do right now. And I look forward to when I will have like the professionals come in and I will just have like an overseer responsibility. Yeah, that's it.
So I love the fact that I don't know if I should say you are a reservoir of ideas, and you found M.P.F, now L.O.T.W. So L.O.T.W, what's L.O.T.W actually?
L.O.T.W. So L.O.T.W is a group, living out the word group, and then it has like other ventures under. And the goal of L.O.T.W is to put God at the center of people's lives, right? God at the center is God 360. So under L.O.T.W, you have Shop L.O.T.W that has, so everything we use, everything we need in our daily lives, everything, there's just, it just has like a God focus.
Yeah.
L.O.T.W travel, which is one of my favorites, is basically seeing the world through God's eyes, exploring the world, going, visiting different places and seeing the beauty of God's creation, right? You see animals, you see different kinds of plants, you see different kinds of locations, the beauty of nature.
Yeah.
But this time, not saying Mother Nature, this time knowing that it is God who created this and letting people be, it's all, because it's largely a media company.
Yes.
So letting people know that look at what God has done. Look at the beauty of his creation and affording people, to see it from that perspective, right? That's L.O.T.W travel, L.O.T.W publishing, create resources, books, games, all of that. L.O.T.W network is the one for like TV programs and all of that. L.O.T.W Kids is the kids network, kind of like your Disney Channel, but this time like the good healthy one, not like pushing witchcraft and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Kids who know God, kids who have an intimate relationship with him, and living out the word one day at a time. L.O.T.W one day at a time is one of the programs on L.O.T.W network, and the focus of that is to show how we live the word, how we do the word, how we put it to practice every day, the challenges we face. So it's different people showing, not just telling their stories, but like, for example, you are stopped by road safety officials in Nigeria. What are you going to do? Are you going to give a bribe when normally you're not supposed to. So that decision, that moment where you have to make the decision between obeying the word or doing
The other way
sharply.
around,
Yeah, right. So it's just very interesting stories that we kind of put together and people can watch and be entertained by, but also edified. Right. So that's why I say LOTW is like my own.
Maybe.
It's my more than my baby, is my responsibility, right? Because this is what God has said I should do. M.P.F is great, is amazing, but LOTW is putting God at the center of people's lives, and it's in the different areas of life, right? So it's in retail, it's in media, it's in publishing, it's everywhere.
You see, LOTW is anchoring so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you been able to find the balance? Because trying to put in so many things at the same time.
One good thing is I'm not married yet. I don't have kids. So I have, what else am I doing with my time, basically, right? So I'm doing all of this in the hopes that when, I finally settle down, I have taken it to a stage that I will have time for my kids and my family, because that's very important to me. That's very, very important to me. So really for now, and I enjoy the work, so I'm not stressed by it. It seems like a lot, but I'm not stressed by it at all. Obviously, I have headaches sometimes and then I need to sleep. But largely, I look forward to doing them. I look forward to the project. The only thing I'm begging God now is to give us more money so we can do more. Because, to do more, you need more money, you need finances. And at the start of things, because like I said, I'm not like, I'm not a finance guru. So I don't like to take money from, I don't want to open it up for investment yet because, for example, I've been doing LOTW since 2019 as well.
Seriously?
2019. M.P.F was 2018.
Yeah.
But let's say 2019 officially. But LOTW too has been since 2019. And let's say seriously in 2021. So, and all this time, it's been my money going into it. And we've not broken even yet. So I don't want to be under the stress of what you call them, investors and all of that.
Yeah.
So when it starts to, which it will, then they can come in, right? So I can sleep well because I know I'm not supposed to. People can, you can have your opinion about this and it's very fine, but I'm just saying what works for me and what I'm comfortable with at the moment.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you want to scale, you don't use your money to scale in business. You use your money
to scale.
But for now, since I'm still laying the foundation and the groundwork, it's fine to take it one step at a time. And because this is God's business, there's some people that do ministry.
Yes.
LOTW is ministry, but it's business, right? So it's ministry business. Ministry, you are not in it to make money. I'm in it to make money. And I'm putting God at the center of your life while doing it.
So can I say ministry means business?
No, allow. No. God is in the business of winning souls. So when you are in business with God, souls are very important. It's not about the money. If it's about money, he will provide all of that.
True.
He cares about souls. And then what he cares about, you care about as well. So you should place emphasis on what he places emphasis on. So that's just it.
I think I can relate what LOTW is doing now with Turning Points. You know Turning Points?
Is it Pastor Ashimolo?
No, it's not Pastor Ash. No. There's this program I see on Channels TV. They play it every morning on Sunday. Turning Points.
I don't watch that as well as much because I'm very busy.
Okay, so that program they talk about people's story and how and how they provide help for them. And also their stories inspire people. I've seen a story whereby someone got into drugs at a very tender age and kind of ruined his life, but redemption came along the line and he was able to more like at least
get back on the right track.
And I want to relate that to what LOT is trying to do too as well. But you guys are
yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And honestly, having this conversation with you has really been interesting, and
Thank
we can
you.
go on and on.
Then we can go on and spend the entire day talking.
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. So I want to say a big thank you for giving us the privilege to share your experience and all of that.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to have you in the next 5 years.
Amen. On a different level.
On a different level.
Par la grâce de Dieu. Ouais.
Different level.
Amen.
So before we go, I want you to tell our audience to subscribe to Craftivate on YouTube, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tosin Adesina. I'm the founder of L.O.T.W and M.P.F France. L.O.T.W means living out the word. I have to say that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Craftivate on YouTube. Bye.